This week, we cut a stay short as boy racers spoil our sleep, contrasted with a peaceful car park stopover in a gorgeous little town steeped in history and boasting the longest and deepest canal tunnel, and finally experience the rugged landscape of Kinder Scout. But first, welcome to our channel. I'm Kath, this is Sue. As a retired couple, we've been living and travelling in our motorhome for over 2 years with our 2 dogs, Archie and Fudge. The weather has made the last 6 months the hardest, but summer is on its way, so why not join us? Good morning. Well, let me introduce you to last night's stop. It was here at Penistone Hill Country Park. Now, we were the only camper in. There's several places on Search for Sites and Park for Night around this country park. We were the only motorhome here last night, and we were in probably the biggest car park, and it's generally the place where everyone turns up to walk their dogs because it is absolutely fabulous for that. And I'd like to say we had a great night's sleep and peaceful, but at about 12 o'clock midnight, a car turned up with 4 young people in. No problem with that, but they then decided to swap drivers a few times and basically drive for the next 40 minutes just around the car park. Now, do you know what they didn't? They weren't beeping their horns or screaming or shouting or doing, wheel spins or anything like that. They were just driving, and of course every time they drove around, their car lights were shining in the van. It was also extremely windy. Well, we can't really complain about that, can we? But anyway, this is it's a lovely location. Otherwise, we were going to stay for 2 nights. I don't think we will, because tonight is a Friday night, and if we had the boy racers on Thursday night, I suspect we'll have more of them tonight. And it's still forecast to be quite windy. But to show you where our motorhome is, I've kind of ducked down into this little valley just to give a bit of respite from the wind, because it's incredibly, and it's a bit exposed here as well. Let me show you where the van is though. Look, it's up there. You'll just see the top of it. And look who's down there, waiting patiently for me. Okay, we've just come across Sue and Fudge just back from their run. We're at our next car park stop. Now, this is a free car park on the edge of the small little town of Marsden, next to the Marsden station, and I understand there's a canal close by as well. Fudge and I are going to go off for our usual afternoon explore, because we're going to take advantage of the fact that it's not raining. It's actually quite sheltered here as well, so hopefully we'll have a nice peaceful night. But we're going to head off up into the hills. There's some hills just around us, and it looks like there might be a reservoir, so we're in search of a reservoir. Well, this weather is just so weird. I've had to put my hood up, put my camera away. It's just poured it down with rain. Now the sun's out. It's just completely bizarre. But up here, I've actually found out, I think I said earlier, maybe it didn't, it's called Marsden Moor. And it's, well, it is very moor-like, isn't it? It's not quite those craggy peaks that you get in the Lake District. It's a bit more like rolling hills, and it is a bit wet and boggy up here. But we're out in nature again, and I'm sure you can't hear it for the wind, but I can hear all the birds. Since I started walking on the moor, I haven't seen a single other soul. And it's absolutely gorgeous up here, particularly now that we've got a little bit of sunshine as well. But so it feels a bit wild, a bit remote, and a bit lonely. Maybe lonely's the wrong word. I don't feel lonely at all. The the terrain feels quite lonely, if that makes any sense. I've got my walking buddy with me. How could I possibly be lonely? So this is Cup with Reservoir on Slaithwaite Moor. So I think we started off on Marsden Moor and ended up here. Not sure. I'll have to check the map out later. Ready? Ready? Good morning. Well, this car park turned out to be an absolute gem last night. It was really quiet. There is a railway line just there, and every now and again you hear the slow rumble of a train going by. Nothing to keep us awake. In fact, I would say last night I had the best night's sleep that I've had in years. You can see we've woken up to a glorious morning. We're a stone's throw out of the town of Marsden. In fact, Sue's just gone off to get us some milk. And then we're going to get the boys' buggy out because we've got a little journey up the canal to see some real treats. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Maybe not quite as much as we are, but I hope so. And you can actually get off a train here and then get onto a boat trip which will take you up the canal, which is where we're going. Not on a boat trip, we're walking. This is the bit I like best. We're all together. You know she won't go when Archie's in his buggy. Well, I'm stood above the canal in front of the Stand Edge Tunnel. Now there's also a museum here which hopefully we'll be able to have a look around as well. But this is the longest and deepest tunnel on the canal system, and it was built right next to the railway. So it was first started to be built in 1794, and the idea was to connect underneath the Pennines from Huddersfield to Ashton-under-Lyne. And the tunnel runs for 3 miles, and it was first built by hand. Well, mostly by hand, so shovels and picks and a bit of gunpowder. And it was used extensively once it was completed. It took 17 years to complete the build, but it was used extensively until railways started to take the load. Now it's now possible to get a longboat as a trip through the tunnel, which I'm sure is very fascinating. And there was a guy who worked here from being a young boy. And it's said that his job was to see boats go into the tunnel and then walk over the top to see them come out safely at the other side. And he walked a total of 8.5 times the circumference of the earth during the course of his many years doing that job. Also, at its deepest point, it's 190 metres underground. Over the course of its construction, 17 years, 50 people died. You can imagine planting gunpowder, getting yourself to a safe distance and then kind of keeping your fingers crossed at the time. No health and safety. And on our way back, we've stopped at the railway, which is the pub just across the road from the station. We're just having a drink, using the loo, and the dogs are having a chew, so they really will enjoy it. And the sun's out. Couldn't be better. Anyway, I'm going to see you later this afternoon because we couldn't get any further with Archie in his buggy. Fudge and I are maybe going to take a little forage along the canal path later and see if we can get to another historic bridge which is a bit further along. So we'll see you later for that one. So I'm out with Fudge now. Different perspective on Stand Edge from here. We're now wandering along the little lane to see if we can get to a bridge. I'll tell you a bit more about it when I get there. Eastergate Bridge, and it was built in either the 17th or 18th century, and it was used for pack horses to cross the river at this point in order to take wood over the Pennines from Huddersfield to Rochdale. It's actually a Schedule 1 listed monument, so hopefully being looked after by somebody. I think it's probably the National Trust on our behalf. We're on our way back. Just had a phone call from Sue to let me know that England are playing Ireland in the Women's Six Nations. So she's put it on pause, and when we get back we can do a watch from the start. She is so good to me. We're back! Hello Archie! Well, we've had dinner and Sue's doing her usual job of washing up, but I just thought I'd say we're moving on tomorrow, but this for us has been an absolute winner, this little place. You say?
Oh yeah, no, it's been lovely.
It has. There's just so much history. There's good walking, either up hills or along the canal. Don't think it could have got any better, really.
Yeah, no, I think it's been the prettiest canal that I've run along since we've been travelling.
There you go, you heard it here. So really recommend this place. Anyway, tomorrow we're moving on and we're staying on a campsite because guess what, we need to empty the loo and we've got another full laundry bag, so we're gonna have a couple of days somewhere posh. So this is it. Our next stop is Hayfield Camping and Caravan Club site, which is, I don't know, somewhere in the Peak District, near High Peak. I think is probably the closest place. Not sure. I'll check it out. But first, Fudge and I are off for a little stroll because there is a reservoir not far from here. So we're heading off for that. And we're going to have to watch out for any straggler runners because there's actually been a run which comes down from Kinder Scout and passes the caravan site. So when we arrived at about 1 o'clock, there were lots and lots of runners coming by. So we'll be run dodging. Well, the first part of the walk up to the reservoir is on a lane, but it's a lane that's not open to traffic straight off the side, just for access. There's a couple of small buildings up here, houses, but once you get to here, as you can see, it's beautiful, and you're on a footpath, and it's really easy walking. Well, I think I've picked the wrong side of the reservoir to walk along because it's just on the other side of these woods. But in these woods there's big signs, lots of them, red, in capitals, keep out private. So best we don't go down to the reservoir. And the footpath goes off up there. So we'll carry on because I think we will get a view of the reservoir from up there. But I think tomorrow we'll try again and we'll take the other side. Well, hopefully you can make out the reservoir behind me. You're just getting a glimpse of it over here. But definitely the other side is going to be a better prospect. And tomorrow I fancy walking up into those hills over there. So, well, I think we'll save that for tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to pack the drone away and head back to camp. When we get back to the site, it might just be warm enough and sheltered enough to get my chair out and sit outside. I mean, it's getting on a bit now. I guess it must be going on for 4 o'clock now. So, lucky to just be wearing my t-shirt at the moment, but I am walking, so maybe not sitting, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. Good girl. Well, it's another day and we're back to jumpers and jackets again because it's raining. But I promised you yesterday that we try to get to the other side of the reservoir so we can get a view from a different perspective. And I might try and go a bit further actually. It is possible to get to Kinderscout from here. Whether we'll do that today or not, I don't know yet. But we're going to walk and see how we get on. Well, you can see how the perspective is different from this side. It's still a bit of a mizzly day, but the visibility has improved on what it was this morning, so we're going to keep going. Well, this is the nice bit of the walk at the moment because it's been fairly flat along the reservoir, but we're just about to start heading uphill. So there'll be a big effort coming up. Oh, that sheep made me jump. Well, I've made it to the top of this. I don't think this is Kinderscout. I'm going to have a look at the map in a minute. But it is just so beautiful up here. It's mizzly, so we're getting a little bit wet, but it's not too much wind. The walk up here, I mean, I'm sweating buckets, but it's worth it when you get here, particularly on a day like today. It's a Monday, it's mizzly, no one else here but me. Well, I'm heading back down now, and the route down is, well, looks to me to be as interesting as the route up. So that'll probably end this video. We'll see when we get to the bottom. Well, I will do something when I get to the bottom so that you know I got there safely. Well, good morning everyone. I made it back. Thank goodness. I was so tired when I got back I didn't bother picking up the camera. But we're safe and sound, and that's it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed watching. Remember that thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. But anyway, I'll see you next time.